In 1941, Argentinian writer Jorge Luis Borges, who was known mostly for his poetry and his short stories, published a short story titled The Garden of Forking Pets. That story is not among his best or most beloved, frankly, but it is important nevertheless. Why? Because in that story he foreshadowed two unbelievable things. One is the theory of multiple or infinite universes, infinite worlds, and the other is the theory of hypertext. Both elements can be found in that story. So, for example, this theory of multiple universes is now considered the core of the quantum theory in physics. One of the most interesting theories to ever come from physics, which is an interesting science anyways. But just imagine this. That theory says that whatever is possible will actually happen, will be realized in one of the multiple universes that exist in a parallel mode. What it means is this. In reality, when we make a decision, it's usually a binary decision. So somebody asks you what you will have for breakfast, a pancake or fried eggs. So if you choose fried eggs, the pancake is gone. And vice versa, if you choose the pancake, the other option is gone. So it's binary. In quantum theory, if you choose the pancake, another you is choosing at the same time the fried eggs in another universe parallel to this one. So both decisions are taken. That's what Borges has written in The Garden of Forking Pets. This is his speculation. And also there is this thing with hypertext, because the story actually is about a Chinese governor, very powerful, very influential, several centuries ago, obviously, who is also a very creative artist. At one point, he withdraws from his political and ruling position and says, on one occasion he says, "I'm withdrawing to write a perfect novel." And on another occasion he says, "I'm withdrawing to create a perfect labyrinth." So labyrinth that is closing in on itself and nobody would be able to leave that labyrinth ever. Naturally, people think that he was doing two different projects. 13 years pass, he dies, there is no labyrinth that anyone can find, and no novel. Everything they can find, everything they could find was a bunch of fragments, really, of the novel. But these must be first drafts, because they don't seem to have the inner logic. For example, in chapter 4, the central character is dead. In chapter 5, he's alive. So they think whether they should even publish this thing, and in the end they do publish it out of respect for the artist/governor. And then several centuries pass, and renowned sinologist finds that manuscript and starts, going deeper and deeper into that, and finds also some until then lost letters, and he actually understands that it was one and the same project, the labyrinth and the novel. So that novel was his perfect labyrinth, and those fragments, interestingly enough, never mention time. Why is time never mentioned? Because the novel is a puzzle, and it's about time. And if you are serving a puzzle about chess, as Borges says in the story, what is the one word that you should never mention? Chess, of course. So if time is never mentioned in this manuscript, obviously the manuscript is about time. Now, what is happening there with this garden of forking paths? Turns out that every time the central character comes to the place where his paths fork, he chooses both options. So, exactly like in the theory of multiple universes. So, one decision, instead of leading towards one side and then creating a straight line in that life, is actually forking again into two decisions and two decisions and two more decisions ad infinitum. The same with the other decision. So there is huge number of newly formed branches, some of them closing in on each other, overlapping. Madness. That's the labyrinth. That's the perfect labyrinth that once you enter that novel, you can never go out. So, obviously, both multiple universes and hypertext in this story written in repeating 1941. What a genius. What I want you to do this week is to concentrate on a situation in your life, something important, where it seemed that this was a binary decision that you needed to make. So either or. And I want you to write about it and see, I'm not suggesting anything, but see if it was really a binary decision. Was it maybe a garden of forking paths in your case? Once you have made that decision, did it branch in a really straight and narrow line, or were there shadows, aberrations, sidelines? How did it turn out in the end? Very, very important, because most of the time we believe we are making binary decisions. Are we? Are we really? 800 words. This time you have 4 days. And think of something really important. I know that, that decision when you were 6 and on the beach, and you had to decide whether you would take a vanilla ice cream or a strawberry ice cream. It was important, I understand that. But think of something more important than that. 800 words, 4 days. Let's try this.